Welcome back to Let It Rip. With us now is Tracy Lee, attorney, wife, mother, strong supporter with the Oakland County chapter of the American Family Association of Michigan. Next to her, Johnny Jenkins, director of program for the Affirmation Center in Ferndale. He's got a BA in business from Western Michigan University and a long record of leadership in the gay community. And so does Angela Gabridge. Also with Affirmation, she's loud and proud and out of the closet. She's got a husband and children. She's not a lesbian, but she does support the cause. Meanwhile, Reverend Kelvin Montgomery says marriage is, was, and will always be between one man and one woman. The pastor of the new Holy Cross Church in Detroit believes society has already gone too far. Of course, you've all met Charlie, so let's get started. Tracy, federal judge Lawson, in striking down the Michigan law, the ban on same-sex benefits in the state, said it unfairly discriminates against the gay community and is based on what he called, quote, an irrational prejudice. How do you answer that?
There's so many problems with that statement, Hill. For one thing, the voters have overwhelmingly stated in 32 states that marriage is between one man and one woman. That's what the voters have stated. And what you're having is certain judges, federal judges, are telling the voters that your opinion doesn't matter. They're saying, we're going to change that. Marriage can be between anybody. And so, of course, I disagree with that statement. What you're having is not discrimination against homosexuals. What we're seeing is an increased hostility, an increase in intolerance towards faith-based institutions and people of faith. That's what we're seeing. The discrimination is actually taking place. It's actually reverse.
Johnny, now, you know, the courts are kind of schizophrenic on this, bipolar. You have the appeals court, federal appeals court, the Sixth Circuit Court, saying that the voter-approved ban is legal, will stand in Michigan and 3 other states. But then you have this federal judge, Lawson, saying, but no, same-sex couples deserve the same benefits as married couples.
Well, of course, we agree with the latter, but the Sixth District Court, we believed that it was more conservative than most of them to begin with. So we always kind of expected it was going to go to the Supreme Court anyway, which is okay with us, because we believe that despite the votes that happened many years ago, we believe that the popular vote will be on our side today. We believe that minds are changing on marriage equality, and we feel like, you know, it's time. There are relationships that are already established that have been going on for decades. Relationships with children, and these children deserve to have their families validated by marriage equality, and they deserve all those rights that come with it.
Angela, you're out of the closet now. You're heterosexual, married to a husband with children. But the question is, do same-sex couples deserve the same rights and benefits as married couples?
Absolutely. I can't understand why they wouldn't. And really, you know, if we're going to talk about the court cases, really, what we're looking at is now the second judgment that's come down in the state of Michigan in favor of same-sex marriage. We understand that the appeals court found in opposition of same-sex marriage, but really, when the case was decided here in the state of Michigan, we decided in favor of same-sex marriage. Now we have this ruling coming through that is in favor of domestic partner benefits as well. And so, really, it seems to me that we are definitely moving in that direction, absolutely.
But how does that work, though? Does that mean that if I'm living with somebody and I just say that she is my partner, that we can also enjoy those benefits too? If you're going to give those benefits to same-sex couples where marriage is not allowed, are you going to give those benefits to unmarried couples, heterosexuals who live together too?
Hill, can I respond to what she was saying about the court cases? First of all, there's 2 courts. One judge says marriage is between one man and one woman. Another judge in the Sixth Circuit says no constitutional ban against the same-sex marriage. Now what's going to end up happening is the Supreme Court is most likely going to decide this issue. It really is a state issue, and the voters have overwhelmingly and continue to overwhelmingly state the same thing. Marriage is between one man and one woman. There's no change in thought. If you look at last week's vote in this nation, they overwhelmingly voted for candidates. All the exit polls were saying they chose candidates on 2 major issues. One is on where they stood on abortion, and the other one was where they're standing on opposing same-sex marriage, and they want conservative candidates, and that's the trend.
How can you have a majority of people vote on an issue that really only pertains to a minority of people? That's not fair. And the other thing about that is, why should the voters vote on something that may be unconstitutional? People should have a right to marry, right?
You have a right to marry is who you marry, because you can't just marry anybody. Everybody has a constitutional right to get married, but not to whomever they want to get married. Think about it. You can't marry. Some people want to marry minors. Some people want to marry animals. Some people want to marry all kinds different things.
And you're not equating same-sex couples
no,
to.
And I'm saying, okay, some people want to marry minors. And I've even talked to one of his predecessors from Affirmations years ago. They want to marry minors, and that is not permissible. So we don't change
marrying a minor.
Laws to accommodate a small sector of society when this country was built upon principles and morals and values that we don't need to change.
Tracy, Reverend, let me talk to you, because I know what the Bible says and what you believe, but public opinion is changing. And the polls seem to imply that if you put it to a vote today, most of Americans would have no problem with same-sex marriage.
I believe a lot of people are getting deceived. For one, they're saying that, okay, it's hatred. If we go against marriage, it's bigotry. It's not bigotry. It's not hatred. Just because I'm against somebody's belief, or just because we're against someone's belief, just because we don't necessarily accept their lifestyle, that's not bigotry. The many churches that I've worked with, the many organizations I've worked with, we've helped gays, we've helped homosexuals. I've ministered to them, I counseled to them. I don't even bring up that issue. They bring up the issue. But this is what I want to say, and I'm going to use some simple logic. The women's, when they was doing this, the women's right movement, they said if we can do the same job as a man, 100%, they said 100%, we should get the same pay. I feel the same thing in marriage. Can two women and two men do the same thing as a man and woman in a marriage? 100%. I think the two men and the two women are going to come up short in some areas. They won't be able to do 100%, and that's when they say equality. I look at equal as equal. Not equal as coming in 90%, 100%, 75%, 100%.
What can't they do?
And when
they can't have children, Charlie. But I never heard of two men having a baby.
But they can adopt children.
They can adopt children. They can adopt children. Can they naturally have children?
Can all heterosexual couples have children? Can all heterosexual couples have children?
No, but a lot of them can.
So those couples shouldn't be married.
A lot of them can.
The ones that can't shouldn't get married.
100% of homosexual couples can't unless a third party's involved. All 100% of homosexual couples cannot have a child unless a third party's involved.
What this comes down to is what defines a family. And there are family units, traditional, untraditional, that are living together, that are building lives together, that are raising children, whether they're their own biological children or not. They're still raising children, and those children are affected by the policies that are put in place by people who may have hate for their family unit or not. It doesn't matter.
But how do you,
you feel about my family
not what it comes down to.
But it does for us. It does for us as a community, because it affects our community. How voting on my rights and my family's validation as a family, it affects me and how I raise my children.
Would you accept another union besides marriage? If we called it something else, if we called it a civil union, if we gave it another term, would you then accept it? If you had the same rights and benefits as married couples do?
No, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work. You can call it a civil union, you can call it a domestic partnership. It is not the same. Now, first of all, I don't have any children, so I'm talking hypothetically here. I'm representing other families that do have children, but those children go to school, and people are asking, they're inquiring about their families. When we go to our jobs and we have pictures of our partners up on the office desk, we're not saying this is my civil union partner. They're saying this is my marriage partner.
How do you answer the question, though? If I'm Christian, I don't believe in gay marriage. Why should I be forced to hire someone who's gay?
You don't have to. Your Christian church.
But discrimination.
But it's bigotry on y'all behalf. Y'all saying it's bigotry. Y'all saying
actually, let me take that back. Okay. I thought you were talking about Christians having, or churches having to have to marry.
No, a different issue. Look,
we don't.
There's more discussion ahead. But look, Charlie's about to take the same question on the road. Should same-sex couples enjoy the same benefits of married people? See what your neighbors are saying next.